G'day. Okay, here we go, talking about the budget, your budget. I've got a cheat sheet here. It's important I have that because there's a lot of variations that I can talk about. For instance, you're travelling alone, probably unlikely. Travelling as a couple, pretty likely. Have you got a dog? Have you got 1, 2, 3 kids? So these are all the variations on the final budget you're going to set up. The one I'm talking about, the first topic, part of the topic I'm talking about is the accommodation. Now, the accommodation, the way I look at it, is in 4 phases. National park, free camps, camping in a normal, what I call a normal caravan park, or staying in a hotel, motel, or a cabin. You might say, well, why even talk about staying in a cabin? Because there might come some stage on your holiday you think, I am so over the noise, the rain, the cold, the discomfort, and all the little hassles you might have in a caravan or a camper trailer. Think, I'm just going to spoil myself for a night or two. So the difference in the cost, generally speaking, a hotel motel, I reckon, probably cost about $135 a night on average. I was in a place in Blaney the other day out near Bathurst. They were advertising rooms from $65. Now that would be pretty rare. So that covers that little bit. The next bit is free camps. Well, that's obvious. You're not paying anything on a free camp. They're great, but they've got their limitations, and we don't need to talk. Well, I'm talking about the financial side of it today. So yeah, zero cost on that, cost on the motels, cost on staying in an actual caravan park. Now, sometimes they'll charge you per person, which is one way of doing it. Otherwise, they'll charge you per site. Per person is usually lower because they're hoping you'll have a father, a mother, 3 kids, a dog, so they're charging per unit. And that can get a little bit expensive, but you don't have a choice. It's not a negotiable thing. The other way, as I said, they might charge you per person. And the final one is national parks. Now, national parks, in Victoria at the moment, all the national parks are for free. As great as that sounds, there is just the smallest catch. You do have to pay a booking fee. So you've got to go online, pay an $8 booking fee, but that's only a booking fee a once off per booking. So it's not $8 per night plus the free. It's $8 to make your booking of, say, 5 nights. The 5 nights are free. You've just got to pay the $8 on the booking. That's not a bad option. Otherwise, around Australia, generally speaking, it's around about $25 to $35 per night per site. So there gives you a few variations, and now the number of nights you're going to stay, again, that varies a lot. Like in the figures I've just presented to you, I've got you staying at the national park 4 nights during the time, at the caravan site 5 nights, and hotel motel 2 nights, and all the rest will be 3 nights. Now it might be the way, that's at least you can set a budget on that. Then when you get to some of these places, over the 30 days, now I'm calling a month 30 days always. It's an easy way to do all the calculations. You might find, we never stayed in a motel the whole month. Obviously that's going to lower your prices. And if you stayed at all 3 caravan parks, that's going to lower your prices. So there's some variations. Watch out though when you do go into a national park. There's no dogs allowed, obviously no cats, and you can't take a chainsaw. I have heard rumours, I don't know whether it's true, have heard rumours that they can or might confiscate your chainsaw, so just take that inside. So that covers the accommodation bit. Let's get to the next stage. I have to say, I get a little bit nervous talking about this. I'm talking about fuel consumption. Now, I get nervous because a lot of people are quite adamant that their truck or their ute or their tow vehicle is just getting this most incredible fuel consumption, which if it is, I'm more than happy for you. Just remember, if you're looking at your at the cluster or your odometer, and it says, you get on the gauge there, it says you're currently doing I don't know, 11 litres per 100, that's not the true, that's the kind of, my opinion, that's kind of makes you feel warm and cosy. You think, oh, that's pretty good, 11, great. The way I always calculate it is I'll go into a fuel station, fill it up, reset the trip meter, not for any particular reason, that doesn't really have too much bearing, and then I'll fill up the ute. I'll also then go into my app. I've got two apps I use for fuel consumption. One is called Fuel Map and the other one is called Petrol Spy. I like Petrol Spy because when you look on the map, it gives you lots of real actual costs of the fuel, which is good. The fuel map I use all the time because I go in there and you go into logbook, put in the odometer reading. Usually it's predefined how much it was, how many cents per litre. Fill out all that sort of stuff and then press enter, and straight away if you've had a previous entry it'll tell you exactly what fuel consumption you're getting. So again, back to my my calculator. I've said on average you get about 17 litres per 100. Watch out, and currently in the city it's around about $1.85 a litre, so we're in January 2025. You might be watching this in 6 months' time and say, wow, that was so cheap, or wow, that was expensive. Anywho, $1.85, $1.86 in the city here in Sydney. Now, you also have to have an allowance for once you get out to the middle of Darwin or some of those places right out in the middle of the sticks where you're just miles from anywhere. The fuel consumption, the fuel cost can be quite a lot different. So what I've done is I've put in a little scale there, and it's assumed it's going to be up to about 25% more expensive than it is in the city. Then you get your average price, and then you do all of your calculations from that. Again, remember right at the beginning I said I'm assuming you're going for 6 months. I'm assuming you're doing 15,000 kilometres. So that's where I've got those calculations on how much it's going to cost you per month using those predefined. If you want to change them, then you'll need to put those different numbers in, and yeah, you'll need to do your own calculations. I'm not going to bore you with all of the figures. You can see how the chart works. There's only a couple of things you might want to consider here. Now, your lifestyle back at home and at work and all that sort of stuff will be quite different to what it is on the road. So if you're on the road, you might think, oh, look, it'd be nice to go out for dinner every now and then, go down the pub, grab a meal, eat out, have breakfast cooked for you and so on and so forth. But you've only got to look at those figures on that chart to realise that each time you do that, they do add up a fair bit. So as I say, I've given you the basis of how to fill it out, and you can fill out what you think is going to be appropriate to you. Don't forget, this is only a budget. I think once you've been on the road for a month and you realise how much you've spent, then you might sort of decide to cut it down a bit. Things like getting a case of beer every second day or whatever, or yeah, a few bottles of wine, or go out for breakfast, go out for dinner, you know, do all that sort of stuff. It adds up pretty quick, and as you can see on the final result there. The other thing is just keep in mind as well, sometimes you'll see free campsites, in the sense that if you stay at the back of the pub, so long as there's no absolute obligation often, but it's kind of inferred, if you stay at the pub for free out the front, they rather like you to go in and grab a meal. Now, if you do that for a couple, you're probably looking at $100 gone by the time you have a main course, a couple of beers, and for the two of you, you're probably up near close to $100. So it's not quite the free camping that you might think it is. Anywho, rattle through all of those and see how you come out with your budget. Okay, we've come to the right near the end. Again, I've got my cheat sheet. These are things that need to be considered. These are what I call costs that are at home. you might not have thought about it. So while you're travelling, okay, you've got all your costs of your fuel and your accommodation, your food, amongst other things. But at home, you might have a mortgage, or you might have an investment property with a mortgage. So you've still got to make those payments, your home insurance, and here's on my little list, your home and contents, your rental home insurance, other insurance you haven't thought about, storage. Now, depending on how you've set yourself up, you might have done this. You've got massive courage if you have. You might have sold the house, bought yourself a great car, a great caravan, and left it all behind. But if you're renting out your property, then, as I say, you might have said, oh, look, we don't want people poking around our bedrooms and all that, so we'll just put all that stuff in storage. Added cost. It's always going to be there every month you're away. Credit card payments. Hopefully you're not maxed out to be doing this trip, but you might be. Home council rates and water payments. Internet and Netflix. Now, you're going to have that both on your trip, so for your phone and for your internet. You also might have a commitment to have internet at home, or the NBN, which doesn't stop, and you're still going to make those payments, so watch out for those. And any other monthly expenses. You might dig up and you think, oh, I forgot all about that. Yeah, I've got to make those payments. So wrapping it all up, these are the basic, give you a rough guide on the all up expenses. The accommodation per month is about $570. Fuel is $340 per month. Now that's based on the 15,000 kilometres and the 6-month trip. Food, I might have got this terribly wrong, and I swear I do not live according to this. But if you use my figures, rough figures, some of this figure as well includes buying a case of beer every week. And that I'm certainly not doing. That comes to $2,000. Vehicle finance you may have, vehicle maintenance. Put some money aside for vehicle maintenance, because if you're away for six months, you're bound to need the car servicing. Even if you service a little bit yourself, it's still going to have some sort of a cost. You might need to do brakes or whatever. Vehicle insurance, that's always going to be there and a bit nasty. Your caravan insurance and caravan registration, car registration, car insurance, any finance you got on the car or the caravan, again hopefully you haven't. Caravan maintenance and private health insurance. If you're going to be on the road, make certain you've got a pretty good health insurance, because you just might get sick or hurt yourself out on the road, and you really want to be covered. Especially if your local doctor is in Victoria and you're up at whoop whoop, you're going to need to do all sorts of things to patch yourself up. Spending money, I reckon probably about $75 a week or $300 a month is probably not a bad figure to have, because you might be somewhere, oh, I really do like that, I don't know, plaque or something, or little rabbit to give to the son or the grandson. Oh, I'll buy that. So that's all coming out of something. So that's your, what I call spending money. Truck repair contingency. Now, with this figure I put completely to one side of the budget. I don't even consider it. It just sits there, just in case things go reasonably horribly wrong. If they go to absolute catastrophe, nothing's going to cover it. But I reckon it's a good safe figure is around about $5,000. If you've got a bit extra, you could max that up to about $10,000. That's going to cover you and the caravan, the car and the caravan, in case, I don't know, you break an axle or your wheel shears off, the caravan catches on fire and it's not covered by insurance, etc. Look at some of my old videos, you'll know what I'm talking about. And finally, unplanned expenses. These could be, I don't know, this could be like treating yourself something, you and your partner, or you and your partner and the kids, or the kids, oh, we're at this particular place, we really, really wanted to go on that train ride. You go, oh, well, that's not within the budget. So if you've got the unplanned expenses of, I don't know, $500 a month, that might just get everybody happy and just get out of it. Just be aware of that. There's a little trick that a lot of people do to justify the extra expense. You can probably use it once or twice, but just don't do it every time or you will blow your budget. And that is, well, we're not coming here again. This is once in a lifetime. So the helicopter ride, yeah, it's only $500 or $1,000. Let's just do it. You keep doing that, your budget will just be crushed. Now, hopefully this video has been helpful and or entertaining and useful to you. If it has, that's great. And if you think the video is worth sharing, I'd appreciate it. So until next time, this is Paul Will Drive, signing off.